Hey guys, my name is Alex Gamadanis. Some of y'all might know me from hosting on Sunday mornings, but I also get the privilege of leading the men's discipleship group that meets here in person on Wednesday nights. And so I really have the awesome privilege of getting to share some of my thoughts on Hebrews 10. And really just before we get into that, I saw this picture kind of floating around on the internet, and it really made me think of really just our study on Hebrews. You can see this picture right there. You can see if you look at the sign, it could say two different things depending on how you view it. The way I view it, it says you matter, don't give up. But if you read it the other way, it could say you don't matter, give up. And the reason why I want to share that is because I feel like this is a cool perspective that we get to see in Hebrews, that it matters how we view the word. And if we don't start off with the perspective that this is written to the Hebrews, this is written to Jewish Christians, I think it sometimes changes the way that we read the Bible, and especially the way that we read this passage. And you'll see why in a second, because the passage that I want to focus on for this Devo is 10:25. It's kind of a popular passage. Some of us have used this passage maybe wrongly sometimes, but let's look at it real quick. Not forsaking the assembling of ourselves together, as is the manner of some, but exhorting one another, and so much more as you see the day approaching. I want to offer like a new perspective on that, because I feel like he's not necessarily talking about the church gathering that we probably think of, especially in the modern day era. You got to think that the writer of Hebrews was writing to a group of Jewish Christians, so they knew nothing about projector screens and comfy seats, right? They did not know anything about the Sunday gatherings like we have now. And I'll admit that like I've used this passage wrongly in like guilting people from missing church. I know I even used this passage during the lockdowns. A lot of pastors probably did this in the sense that like, you know, we were missing our privilege and our right to meet together. But I think if you look at the surrounding context and like you actually pay attention to what the writer is maybe saying, I think that you would see that it's really not saying that. Look at the way that the verse right before that, it says, let us hold fast the confession of our hope without wavering, for he who promised is faithful. And let us consider one another in order to stir up love and good works. And then towards the end, as he's kind of wrapping it up, verse 32, but recall the former days in which after you were illuminated, you endured a great struggle with sufferings, partly while you were made a spectacle both by reproaches and tribulations, and partly while you became companions of those who were so treated. For you had compassion on me in my chains, and joyfully accepted the plundering of your goods, knowing that you have a better and an enduring possession for yourselves in heaven. Therefore do not cast away your confidence, which has great reward. He uses that same word again, that confidence. Look at again, verse 23, let us hold fast the confession of our hope without wavering. He who promised is faithful, and let us consider one another in order to stir up love and good works. It's talking about doing something. So it's not talking about assembling just for the fact of, or the sake of assembling. It's not talking about gathering just for the sake of gathering. It's actually saying that when we come together, we have a purpose. We're exhorting each other, we're encouraging each other, but we're stirring each other up to good works. And when I think about this, like I even think about if he's writing to the Hebrews, if he's writing to Jewish Christians, like he talks about how they were busted for like doing good things. They were busted for being companions. They were busted for serving people. And I'm thinking, like, what would we get busted? Like, what would we get busted for? Like, if you got caught with your boys right now in this day and age, what would you get caught doing? Would it be doing things for the kingdom? Or would it be doing things for the world? Like, would we be able to get persecuted for what we do right now? And that's why I don't believe that it's just talking about just gathering together just for the sake of gathering together. And I know that they couldn't stop us during the lockdowns just because we couldn't meet in person, that it didn't stop the assembling. You know how I know that? Because my wife and I, along with some other people, initiated something here at the church called the food distribution that you guys know of now. And we started that over 2 years ago, just assembling together, passing out goods, passing out food, doing good works. exhorting each other. And now that's been going for over 2 years, and we do that twice a month now. I gathered with some others during the protests in Atlanta, doing some prayer things and some worship things. We met in our home. Me and my wife Courtney started a Bible study at our house with about 20 people. And during that time we gathered together, we challenged each other. We challenged each other in our marriages, how to love our neighbors, how to love our coworkers. We made things for care packages for homeless people. We distributed those out. We passed out gift cards during Christmas. Like, these are things that we assembled together, but we assembled together for a reason. It wasn't just so that we got together. Lord knows, the modern church, the American church, we don't have a problem gathering together. But if an audience or a congregation accomplish much, then what gets accomplished at a football game or a UGA game or a basketball game? Just people coming together doesn't accomplish anything unless there's a purpose birthed out of that. And I believe that the writer of Hebrews right here is saying that we're not just gathering to be a crowd. We're not just gathering to assemble, but we're to stir up love. That's what he said, right? To stir up love and good works, to encourage one another. And I don't think this is about being prideful or selfish, because I feel like if we come to the church, if we gather together with this kind of selfish motive that like we just want to gather together, we're not going to accomplish anything. But if you think about those models that this church has built itself on, what you going to do? Like that kind of like that, okay, now that you have the gospel, what you going to do? And then that goes to that other one, right? The other 6 days. So we have to shift our focus. That is not about coming together and getting around a bunch of people just to congregate on a Sunday morning, and then that's it. We have to stir up one another to love and of good works. And I know if we take the gospel serious, if we take the Great Commission serious, then we're going to do that. That should spread. My guys probably are tired of me talking about this every Wednesday night. We talk about everything that we're learning. It's really invalid if we don't share it with other people. So let's go out, let's be disciples who make disciples who make disciples. Thanks.